Society, social media, and culture have conditioned us to lose touch with our authentic self, our muchness, our strength, our voice. And now you edit yourself to fit yourself inside a box that you think you need to be in order to be loved, respected, chosen. But vulnerability is a tool that we've kind of lost touch with, and it's a tool that connects us to ourselves and to others too from an honest and authentic place. Yet, we fear vulnerability from risking being hurt or rejected. In this video, I'm going to be giving you all of the steps and the guidance on how to overcome your fear of vulnerability, how to change your mindset about it, and how to use these steps to apply into your own daily life. Ready? Let's go. We feel the pressure of having to be perfect or knowing everything or getting everything right. And if we step outside of that, we feel we are putting ourselves in a situation to be bullied or rejected or hurt. We avoid vulnerability to avoid the emotional pain we think and expect it's going to cause us. It might have been that somewhere in your life you learned that your true self-expression and your authentic self wasn't good enough, or something was wrong with it. Someone made you feel that way, that something was wrong with you. And our bodies are very smart and brilliant, and you have learned along the way that you have to edit yourself and change into someone that you believe is going to avoid that emotional pain again. Vulnerability is uncertainty and emotional exposure. It's a feeling one gets when you consciously choose to express your emotions and desires despite the possible risk and lack of control over the outcome. We've been taught that vulnerability is weakness for men and women, that we have to hide our emotions in order to create the illusion of power, when in reality, vulnerability is power. Vulnerability is courage, it's strength, it's connectedness, it's love. Every time you choose to show vulnerability, you're choosing courage. You're choosing to be courageous and show strength. And remember, vulnerability isn't about oversharing, especially when you haven't built that trust with that person yet. It's not a competition. It's not about winning or losing. It's not about getting the desire that you wish, the outcome that you specifically want. Vulnerability just is. It's just being, no matter what the outcome is. It's getting that intentional, authentic pull and expressing yourself in that moment or later. The reason why so many people fear vulnerability is because it risks your self-identity. So when you don't get the the outfit, the outcome that you don't want, you identify that with the core of who you are. So for example, if something happens and it wasn't what you wanted, instead of being there for yourself, you don't think, okay, this just wasn't meant for me, or this person wasn't meant for me, or something better is coming, or I just wasn't meant to receive it at this time. Something is happening for me, not to me. Instead, you start shaming yourself and abandoning yourself. You start calling yourself weak, an idiot, stupid. Why did I do that? Of course I wouldn't get that. Why would I get something good like this? You know, do you see the difference? Of course you're going to feel bad when you start thinking those things about yourself. If you don't think you're worthy, loved, or good enough, you're not going to feel good about yourself. Shame shuts down vulnerability because it feels existential instead of situational. Your self-worth hangs on the thread of the outcome, of the external, of people's acceptance of you. And I know, trust me, to the core of what this is like. It feels like you're gonna die, like life or death. You're in survival mode, fight or flight. Like it's horrible. And I trust me, I know. But with a lot of trial and error, with being patient with yourself and, you know, learning the lessons along the way with what you're receiving, it can get so much better. And I know from personal experience, I've gone from like the very bottom to, you know, now healing a lot and getting to my highest version of myself. So yeah, it's a journey and it takes time. You just need to be patient with yourself. Ask yourself these questions. What are you afraid of people seeing in you if you were vulnerable? What are you scared of happening? What does it remind you of? You know, this fear, this pain. What, you know, memory or what feeling in the past does it remind you of? Or what are you scared of happening again? How do you edit yourself to feel accepted from others? Who are you truly on the inside? Why are you scared to let that person out? Our self-identity and our beliefs about ourselves cause and dictate the actions that we take in our daily life. For example, if you believe you're going to get rejected, you hold yourself back because you've already put the outcome, the fear in your head, so you avoid it. When you detach your identity from the outcome and the situation, no matter what happens, and you know that you're not going to abandon yourself, you're going to feel much more okay. You're not going to feel so much in fight or flight mode because you know you have yourself to pull back onto. Even if you feel hurt, that's not to say you don't feel emotions. Feel your emotions, but just know that you're going to be there for yourself in the process of that if it happens. Now, this is such an important topic because this, having a scarcity and negative mindset, can affect so much of your life in all areas. So, when you live in a state of lack and having a negative mindset, you're always going to be living and believing the worst outcome, fearing the worst things to happen. This is our body and our mind, working to survive. It's a protective strategy. And we've learned somewhere along the way that this way of thinking and this mindset benefits us somehow. So when we have an outcome we're waiting for, we tend to want to hurt ourselves and disappoint ourselves or prepare for the outcome of disappointment or hurt before it can actually happen. So we have this sense of false control over the narrative. So really observe your thoughts when you're going through a process like this, when you're thinking negatively, self-inquire, because a lot of the time we are judging ourselves. So when you're self-inquiring, kind of ask yourself, okay, so this is the original thought, a negative thought. Are we distorting it in some way? Are we, trying to fortune tell? Are we trying to think worst case scenario, like catastrophizing? Are we, assuming things? Do we know the whole story? Are we limiting any positivity at all? Then next, when you've thought about that, challenge that thought. Ask yourself, okay, what's another way I can think about this situation? And when you're thinking negatively, your brilliant mind will try to look for the evidence to make that point correct. So you're going to be looking through everything through the lens of negativity. And honestly, not everything is personal. Most of the time things are not personal, and we can't assume the worst out of someone when we don't have any evidence that this is how they're feeling about us, because it's just really how we're feeling about ourselves a lot of the time. And something that has really helped me make me feel just a little bit more fulfilled and happy is gratitude. And I know you probably hear about gratitude everywhere from everyone, but there's a reason, and it really does work. Just taking the time to pray, and or even just in my head, but genuinely feel grateful, like genuinely, don't just say it robotically, really feel it and think about what you have. For example, I'm so grateful for my friends who believe in me, and we have fun together. I'm so grateful for the love that I receive. I'm so grateful for all the support I have. When you don't challenge your patterns that don't serve you anymore, this is going to continue running your life until the day you die, unless you challenge them and you be courageous. In order to get to the life that you truly want and the way that you truly wish to feel, you have to go through the pain. It's just part of the process, and no one is exempt from this. So you have to go through the pain to finally feel the ecstasy. I think a lot of the time we forget that so many people are going through similar situations to us or feeling the same way. And it even I had this before as well, a long time ago. Like, I felt I'm the only one who's experiencing this. You really feel like everything's happening to only you, but actually it's happening to so many people. So many people are feeling exactly like you are, and they know exactly how you're feeling. Stop waiting for external proof and validation from others to be able to finally feel good about yourself. Stop waiting for things to happen in your life to finally give yourself permission to feel confident and happy. You're just going to be chasing that validation like a carrot dangled on a stick. You're never going to be fully satisfied. You're always going to be at the whim of other people's actions, waiting and hoping and pleading, just to feel good about yourself. When you have that source of love and validation inside of you already, you have the feeling inside of yourself, the authentic voice inside of yourself. You just need to learn to trust it. Life is like a mirror, and you have to change the internal to finally see the external change. You can be experiencing a single situation from your own unique perspective, but someone could experience that same situation but feel completely different about it. It just depends on your internal world and how you feel. And upgrading your identity is not a one-day job. Like, trust me, I tried. I tried to, like, you know, get it quick. It just doesn't work. Especially having an internal change and challenging those patterns and those beliefs and changing, who you are to get to the core root of who you are and let that shine. It's not a one-day challenge. It's a long journey, ups and downs and all arounds, but at the same time, the graph and the line is going up still, but you just can't see it and it doesn't feel like that sometimes. And you just have to trust that process, and you just have to be really patient with yourself and learn the lessons that you're learning, and everything is happening for you, not to you. It's all for the better of yourself. And something that's really helped me actually is thinking about what I want specifically, not about like the situation, like, oh, I want this person to call me, or I want a text, or I want, this amount of money and stuff like that. Like, not, I mean, you can think about the outcome, but truly I started to think, like, what do I want? Like, okay, I want consistency, love, trust, to feel safe. And because I'm relaxing, I'm allowing that space to be able to receive that. Like, when you're in a state of love, you attract more love. When you're in a state of fear, you attract more fear. But every time I put myself forward, every time I challenged myself, those fears became less and less and less. And my self-trust was growing, 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 and it's still growing, and it's still getting, much stronger. And that can happen to any one of you as well. Validating your emotions are so important. Every single time you go into survival mode, fight or flight, and you're triggered, your body is an incredibly smart vessel. It's telling you something, it's giving you information for you to listen to. Even if your emotions are extremely powerful and destabilizing, and you just feel super overwhelmed by them, this is the time to not abandon yourself. This is the time to stick with yourself even harder, be with yourself even more. Because every time you go into that emotional state and then you start to numb yourself, you start to distract yourself, scroll on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, this is you abandoning yourself. And every time you do this, you're not only ignoring what you're feeling, you're abandoning yourself, but you're also losing trust within yourself. And listen, it happens, but as long as you learn from it, you reflect from it, and try to do better next time. Don't beat yourself up about it if you do it. It's, human. I still do it sometimes as well, and I have to catch myself. It's very easy to get into that role of just scrolling and numbing and doing whatever. What has been actually a game changer for me is being very honest with myself. Like, every time I'm feeling very like my strong emotions, I just get super honest with myself, and I start thinking, like, like I did, like, as a child, like, just being blunt. I'm just like, this is so annoying. I feel like I'm about to be abandoned. I don't know what's happening. I'm scared this and that, and I'm scared I'm not going to be able to, blah blah blah. Be like your own best friend. I know you probably hear that everywhere, but it's really true. Like, talk to yourself how you would talk to your best friend if they're going through the same thing. You're not going to be punished for feeling your emotions. I know sometimes it feels like you're going to mess everything up just because you're feeling that the way you do, but you're not. We have these emotions for a reason. If you're also feeling anxious around someone and you're scared that you're going to mess things up, or this version that's coming out of you, this anxious person, is going to repel them or ruin things, accept how you're feeling and feel anxious next to them. If you're feeling worse and worse and worse because you're feeling bad, that's just going to go into a whole spiral. Just accept that you're feeling anxious and feel anxious next to them. Let the emotions flow. And then if you're not in a space to really hear yourself and listen to what's wrong, then just tell yourself, okay, we'll listen later when we're in a safer space, and I will give you that time to reflect and speak on what you need. Now, if someone has genuinely hurt your feelings or crossed a boundary or done something to upset you, don't push those emotions away. I think it's very easy for humans to give excuses to other people who have actually genuinely done something that maybe they don't realize hurt you. It's important for us to not give excuses again and again and again when maybe it's a pattern, or, if it's a one-off thing. then self-inquire and see if it's something to bring up genuinely, or if it's something that you observe over time and you then decide what you want to do. If you are feeling something, get curious of your thoughts and your feelings, move your awareness into your body and really feel the emotions. Just face the fear and feel the emotions. Identify what emotions you're feeling. Talk to yourself, because if you keep on trying to skip the part of really feeling your emotions, you can't regulate your nervous system. If you keep on moving to just try to fix yourself, you're telling yourself that there's something wrong with you and it's not good enough. When you're in that state, is your inner child asking for reassurance, love, and comfort, and that comes from you. Your internal state is mainly your responsibility, and you can't fully completely rely on external sources and other people to help that for you. For example, if you're in a relationship and your partner isn't meeting a need that is really important for you, and you're starting to feel really anxious or stuck, or kind of in fight or flight mode, or even annoyed, go into that. Really ask your inner child, what are you feeling? What's wrong? A lot of the time we feel our needs are too much, or it's going to repel the person, or they're going to find it really annoying and they're not going to meet our needs. And then what do you do then? Like, what if they don't meet your needs? What if they reject you? What if they dismiss how you're feeling? Really sit with yourself, quiet your mind, don't have any distractions, and just feel, observe, and then take action of what you need and what you need to do. For example, sometimes I think, okay, what if the worst happens? Then what? And what am I going to do if that happens? And then once I've kind of built the steps of like what I would do if it does happen, I feel so much better, because I know I will have my back and I know what will happen and what I will do if my fears come true. And I do truly believe you have to love yourself before you have the capacity to love and give love to others. So less punishment and more love to yourself. The experiences in life and the love you give and receive can only be and feel as deep as the intimacy, the love, the trust, and the depth you give to yourself. Fill your own cup and bring beauty and connection into your life every single day. Make the time for fun, creativity, joyfulness. Don't consume so much, create more. Every time we're consuming so much, our brains are overactive, so we can't really hear our own true guidance, our higher self. Connection and love is such a beautiful, precious gift in life, and it's such a shame that fear really blocks from receiving or even giving that, and you hide yourself from showing your true self, therefore stealing and robbing yourself of the opportunity of receiving true, deep love and connection. And how can anyone truly love you for you if you're not showing them the real you? You're performing to be loved. You're earning because you're in that lack mindset. And it's very easy to get into. But give that person a chance. Give the person that you love a chance to love you back truly, like truly meet the real you. Take small steps. Share a fear, share a story, share a thought, share little parts of you. Be silly, like be a little bit goofy or childish. Just have fun. Take little risks here and there, step by step, build the building blocks to be able to fully show yourself and feel more and more comfortable with that. And you'll know when to share something because you'll have the idea and you'll feel the urge to share it, and it aligns with your heart. But then obviously ego comes in, resistance comes in because of the fear. But if it's a genuine thing to share, then share that. Take the risks, because then you're opening the door as well for the other person to open up to and feel vulnerable. Because everyone's running around scared, waiting for someone to give them permission to be vulnerable. But when you take that risk, you're helping everyone else as well be vulnerable too. Relationships and connections can only go as deep as you allow them to be. Relationships are a mirror. So if your relationships, for example, are feeling maybe avoidant or distant, sometimes that is because you're being avoidant and distant within yourself. Be that leader, show people that it is okay to be vulnerable. Learn first yourself, take those steps yourself, and then teach others too. If things are feeling surface level, it's probably because you're surface level with your emotions. But also remember that, being vulnerable and sharing deeper things comes with time, with steps, and opening up slowly like a flower, and doing that with people that you're learning to trust or you do trust already. I think if you're in a toxic environment or a toxic relationship or toxic family, anything, there's only so much you can do. You can't force yourself to be open and vulnerable if the environment is just not safe. I think that's something you really need to evaluate if this is something that you can evolve and fix, or not fix, but you know what I mean, like improve, or if it's something you need to walk away from, because staying long term in toxic environments that are just not improving at all, and if the other people don't want to help themselves at all or improve, then you have to really put yourself first and decide what is best for you, and only you can know that. So I would just be really careful with that and try not to force yourself to feel safe when it's not safe. Your beliefs are so powerful, and really think about what you want. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want to happen. I know I know someone who always focused on what they didn't want to happen, and it always specific things, and it always happened. It was quite funny. Nothing serious, but like serious or bad things, but it was like funny things. um yeah, so just always focus on what you do want to happen. For example, my partner adores me, my partner loves me, he loves to listen to my needs and make me happy, or my friends are very supportive of me, things like that. Because the more you think about them, the more you attract them. Part of vulnerability is allowing the person to be there to hold you. Don't feel like you have to be perfect all the time and always be happy. And it's also performing as well. Let the people you trust see the deeper sides of you. Give them the opportunity to hold you and support you and be there for you, and vice versa. Be there for each other. Your emotions are not a problem. Remember, every single time you choose to be vulnerable, you've chosen courage. Anything you share from your heart, from an authentic place, is beautiful. It's very easy to make the choice to express and communicate from a place of reactivity and very strong emotion. You're not really getting across what you truly mean and what the core root of your emotions are. Practice taking the time to center yourself first and evaluate what you're feeling and what you want to say to someone before you say it. You're not losing anything from evaluating your emotions first and really thinking about what you wish to say. There's no time limit and there's no rush. For example, if I notice I feel the urge to say something and it aligns with my body and my heart as well, then I will say it, because this is me aligning with my true self and it feels right. But if I feel that, but then I also feel a bit of fear, then I will kind of take a moment whilst I'm with the person. I will kind of be talking to myself, thinking, should I not, like deciding. And I still do it, even if I'm feeling fear, and I'll say it in a light-hearted way. I kind of like take a breath and then say it. If I'm feeling that, but I feel a lot of resistance, then I won't say it. And I will spend time with myself to evaluate and then decide if I should or shouldn't. One of the ways I know that it's aligned is my chest feels like it's opening up, like my heart, like the energy is opening up. And it just feels right for me. It feels aligned, and it feels like a gate is opening or a pathway. Or that's the best way I can explain it. But one of the ways I kind of try to decide that is, I think, okay, what if I didn't say anything? How do I feel? If I don't really feel good, then I think about, okay, what if I do say something? And then I feel good about it, then I know, okay, I should say something. But the times I have decided not to say something, even when I felt like I should have, and I kind of pushed away those emotions, made excuses, and didn't say anything, I felt really, really bad after. I felt like I was making myself, like literally making myself ill. I felt like my body was like repressing something, like repressing the emotions and kind of shutting down in a way. And it makes you ill when you kind of don't speak your truth. People are not mind readers, and misunderstandings can happen all of the time. When you're both honest and vulnerable with each other, and you still see the person loves you and accepts you for who you are, that's where bonds grow the strongest. That's where they go stronger and more loving, because you know that that person has your back, even if they've seen the more raw side of you. So experiment, grow, take the risks, and treat it like a game almost. You can't grow if you don't face the challenges. An idea or a suggestion of how to communicate is using I statements. So don't say you do this, you do that, like blaming. Use I statements. For example, you can start off with saying, this is the situation that happened, and I feel hurt. I feel rejected. I feel scared that you're losing interest in me. I'm scared that the relationship is getting boring, or, I don't feel connected to us right now. Can we do something about that? Or can we spend more time together? So state the situation, state how you're feeling, and then state what you kind of wish to happen next. Try to avoid being vague in your communication, because this does not work. Like, you can feel safe temporarily, but then actually you kind of didn't give it the opportunity to really repair because you weren't specific about what you truly were feeling. And try not to get in the he said, she said competition. It does not benefit anyone. And I know it's easy to slip into, but if it does get to that, just say, let's have a breather, a timeout, and then we'll come back later when we feel more grounded. And also, don't worry about how you sound when you're expressing something. The energy is what matters the most. When you're expressing something from an authentic, genuine place, you're going to sound authentic and genuine. So it's the energy, focus on the energy, and you do not have to worry about how you sound at all. Communication and vulnerability is not about oversharing and dumping all of your emotions and issues and unprocessed trauma or emotions all onto someone and expecting them to fix it for you. That's just to release something, and it's like a hot potato, just passing it onto someone else, which isn't fair to the other person. So when it is coming from a genuine place, share what you want to share. If it is about trauma or how you're, anything like that, but not turning it into making someone your therapist. And also remember, don't share something or do something in order to get something back. If you're wanting someone to follow your script in your head or do something specific, you have your expectations, you're only setting yourself up for hurt. And this is not love, and it's not genuine, it's not authentic. Now on to recommendations and homework. So I highly recommend reading or listening to the ebook on Spotify or wherever, the book Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but this is what inspired me to make this video. And I've also been personally learning a lot about vulnerability and practicing it in my own, connections and relationships. And it's really changed my life. Now for homework, I want you to keep in your notes or a notepad, anywhere you prefer, a list of every time you felt scared and being vulnerable, and every time it's worked out. Every time you receive love back when it's come from an authentic place. So every time you've been vulnerable, you've chosen to be vulnerable, write it down. When it's worked out, write it down as the outcome. So then when you have that list and you need a bit more reassurance when you're going to do something scary or you're going to be vulnerable again, you can go back to those notes and you can look at everything you've done and be so proud of yourself and remind yourself you are capable of doing all of this and knowing that the outcome is going to be okay. Even if it doesn't work out, at least you've put yourself out there so many more times and you can go back on those notes. And that's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I deeply appreciate it, and taking the time to watch till the end. If you have, leave a little flower emoji at the end if you have finished. And I just want to remind you again that vulnerability is courage, it's strength, it's love, and it's self-trust. And you are more than capable than that. It's just taking the choice to start. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Mwah.